Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's look at melodic minor. This is fairly advanced, so if you haven't already looked at my previous videos on things like major scales, natural minor and harmonic minor, have a look there first and then come back. Have a look at how melodic minor compares to major and natural minor scales. Compared to major, you'll see we've got 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. A natural minor scale would have an additional flat 6 and flat 7, which gives us a slightly darker sound. The melodic minor scale is so named because it was originally a modified harmonic minor scale. Composers and singers had trouble with the wide interval between the flat 6th and 7th of harmonic minor, and so the flat 6th was raised to a major 6th. This made the scale more readily melodic while still keeping the ability to generate a 5 chord as a dominant 7 chord for strong cadences. In classical theory, the melodic minor scale is only played ascending. When descending, you play the natural minor scale. However, in most modern music, melodic minor scales ascend and descend with the same notes. This is sometimes called the jazz melodic minor scale. But in keeping with modern convention, we'll simply call it melodic minor. Here are the melodic minor scale patterns. As always in my videos, I like to give you something to reference the scale patterns against. So here in red are the root notes and in grey are the chord notes of a minor triad. Think of it as the caged method for melodic minor. So here's the E minor shaped scale. Here's the D minor shape that fits over this awkward D minor shaped chord. Here's an awkward C minor shape, and here's the scale that fits it. Here's the A minor shape, and the scale that fits over it. And finally, here's the G minor shape and the scale that fits over that. If we harmonise melodic minor, we get these triads: minor, minor, augmented, major, major, minor and diminished. If we further harmonise them to get 4-note chords, we get minor major 7, minor 7, augmented major 7, dominant 7, minor 7 flat 5 and minor 7 flat 5. The modes of melodic minor can be achieved as always by starting the scale from a different note. The first mode is melodic minor, then Dorian flat 2, mode 3 is Lydian sharp 5, mode 4 is Lydian flat 7, also called Lydian dominant, mode 5 is Mixolydian flat 6, and then we have Aeolian flat 5, sometimes called Locrian sharp 2, and then Superlocrian, also called the altered scale. These names are appropriate as they give clues to their composition. For example, Dorian flat 2 is a Dorian scale but with a flattened second instead of the usual major second. The more commonly used of these modes are melodic minor, which is used over minor major 7 chords, but more commonly used briefly over minor 7 chords in place of Aeolian or Dorian. Lydian flat 7 is used over dominant chords, especially if that chord is behaving like a 4 chord, but with a minor 7th. Superlocrian is used over altered dominant chords. Also, but less commonly used, is Aeolian flat 5, which is used over minor 7 flat 5 chords. Melodic minor is briefly used over minor 7 chords instead of Aeolian or Dorian. It's generally used sparingly instead of running up and down the scale. So a simple trick is just to duck in and out of that major 7th chord now and again for some extra flavour. So here's an example. Let's take a chord progression of A minor going up a 4th to D, which, as you'll know from my previous videos, gives you a Dorian kind of chord progression. I'll put that in my looper here, and what I'll then do is I'll duck in and out of the major 7. Here's the root note, and I'll duck in and out of this note here to give a kind of melodic minor vibe. Okay. It's natural minor, melodic minor. And again I played major 7 there. And again there. Lydian flat 7, so this works over dominant 7 chords. Now the reason you would play this instead of maybe Mixolydian is because sometimes a dominant 7 chord kind of behaves like a 4 chord. So in blues, for example, if I'm playing G7 and then I go to my 4 chord, well, it's a 4 chord which would suggest Lydian, but it's got a dominant 7 which suggests Mixolydian. So you kind of blend the two and you get Lydian flat 7. We can do that in blues. So here's a typical bluesy progression. 4 bars of A, 2 bars of D7, back to A, E7, D7, A7, D7. Superlocrian contains all the possible alterations used in altered dominant chords, such as the flat 5, sharp 5, flat 9 and sharp 9. Let's have a look at a typical application of this. So a 2-5-1 progression in C looks like this. D minor 7, G altered, in this case I've gone for G7 sharp 5, and in C major 7. D minor 7, G7 sharp 5, C major 7, again, D Dorian. Because Superlocrian is so difficult to learn and apply, what I've decided to do is give you a little trick that I use and many other people use, which is to take commonly played altered dominants and try and see the Superlocrian notes that fit around those chords. It's a caged thing again, but rather than worrying about the whole neck, we worry about playing over the most commonly used of those altered dominant shapes. Let me show you what I mean. So if I start from, say, an A chord, here's an A, here's an A7. I can make an altered dominant like a sharp 5 chord, the awkward flat 5, a flat 9, or an A7 sharp 9. And around this chord, first of all, I've got the notes from those different chords. I can just play those. So I can play the flat 9, sharp 9, root note, sharp 5, flat 7, major 3rd, root, flat 5 here, sharp 5. So I'm actually finding notes based on the name. But to be more specific, here is the whole pattern. So when I'm improvising over a chord like that, I try and just sort of see those alterations. So let's try this. Let me put an A7. Well, actually, I'll play an A altered chord and sort of mess around with it. So here we go, root note, major 3rd, alteration, alterations. We can do the same thing using altered dominant chords whose root note is on the A string. So for example, here's an E7 sharp 9. So here's the scale that fits over that. Thanks for watching. I hope that was useful to you. If so, please click like and subscribe. Thank you.